to drop all of that criticism, all of that critical evaluation to the wayside, and we just believe what they're saying because they're giving us a...
Hello.
Good morning.
Yo, what's up, homie?
Nothing much, friendo. What'd you want to talk about specifically?
So it was the reaction to Jay Exci's video. Kind of two topics. One was that I couldn't tell exactly where you stand on React content. I thought that would be interesting to talk about. We might disagree about that a bit. The other thing is that I think you were kind of unfair to Jay.
What's that?
Okay, so for example, at one point you bring up an RTBA tweet, and it was like an image of two podcasts that happened with like 300K views. Jay wasn't on either podcast, and you were kind of framing that as like, you got plenty of clout from talking about this and shit. And it's like Jay didn't even do that.
It was if I remember correctly, I was talking about the group of friends and the people that he runs with, like his group, right? Like that seems to be a consistent group of people that he runs with, or at least that was what I was aware of at the time.
Yeah, but I mean, they didn't directly benefit from. I mean, like another thing is both of those podcasts I go on. Like one of them is EFAP. I was on that yesterday. The other one is Stitch and Adam. I was on that 2 weeks ago. So like I know all these people. Yeah, it's not a clout thing, right? I don't think it's fair to say that it was like, well, you got plenty of your clout. Jay, I
didn't say that it was a clout thing. What I was saying was that it was out of line for Jay to suggest that they got nothing from it, which it was out of line. They got quite a bit from it. There's quite a bit that they got from these things. Now they could say that they didn't get something directly from just from Hasan shouting them out or anything, because they didn't, but they did get something substantial out of that, which is quite a bit of content as a result of a very large streamer doing that. You think if I did what Hasan did, they would have had that content? Certainly not.
Well, I mean, the assertion there is kind of dubious. So just to give you a recent example, I just had a debate with Heem, and 3 days after Heem posted it, it was at 10K views. And then Vaush posted a main channel video reacting to it, and then I just checked this morning, now it's at 11K views, right? I mean, you would expect, well, if Vaush is magnifying the debate, then there's going to be, it's going to have a massive uptick, right? But I mean, it didn't. So like, I mean, sometimes for sure, like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that a streamer reacting to your content can't help you. Obviously, I'm known for a video that was massively helped by streamers talking about it. So, I mean, yeah, you can benefit, but you don't always.
I know.
In the case of like Hasan reacting to Jay, I don't think Jay got much of anything out of that. And you could say Jay's friends did, but another thing about that is that they get views regardless.
Well, what I was talking about is it's multidimensional, right? It's not just that somebody watched my shit. It's that I could talk about the coverage that somebody gave watching my shit, and that's what they did. They would have never had that content had Hasan never watched their video. Do you disagree with that? They wouldn't have been able to make, or Jay specifically wouldn't have been able to make 2 videos, because that video that we were watching was pretty much just a video about Hasan. With that being the case, they had made 2 videos directly talking about Hasan, and they did pretty well numbers-wise.
Well, so that was another thing I kind of wanted to comment on. So that video, Jay expected that to do worse than normal, and it did. Like and it's not just about Hasan. Like, Jay is not obsessed with Hasan. It's more about React content in general.
I feel like if you watch that video, I feel like you, in earnest, if you tell me that's not about Hasan, I don't know what to tell you. That video is very, very, I know it is broadly, like, that's what it's about, but, like, it pretty much only uses Hasan, except for the one dude who watched the ASDF thing. But other than that, like, 80% of it's using Hasan as the object of focus for the video.
Well, I mean, there's a very good reason for that, right? It's because Jay experienced that personally, so they have they don't need to go and like dig up all of the information. They know, Hasan didn't ask them for permission. They know exactly what the fallout of it was. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me that would be the case. But if I was thinking, right, if I was going to make a video about React content and
Yep.
like the nature of React content on Twitch, I would go immediately to, okay, well, who's reacted to my content and what was the effects of it, right? I
Yep.
mean, that just makes sense to me. Does that not make sense to you?
Yeah, but my whole point behind that is that came as a direct result of Hasan watching the content. If Hasan had not watched the content, they would have not had that content and potentially something very contentious to show the audience. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, but like basically what you're saying is, okay, you're doing something that might be in an ethical gray area, but because Hasan did that, now you get to make videos about how they did something in an ethical gray area.
Yep,
So
that's
it's
pretty.
like a wash.
No. I never said it was a wash. What I said was to imply that you got nothing from it is kind of is obtuse, in my opinion. If you are in this business, I just want people to be honest about what they get out of it. It's like the people that say that that are constantly getting shit on by Vaush or constantly getting shit on by Destiny, or they're the focus of attention. You know, the Mike from PA types for a while and shit like that, saying like, "Oh my God, dude, they're always out here talking about me, dude. They're so miserable. They're so this. They're so that. Right? Like they're harassing me and shit like this." Well, they go out and look for the attention because they know it gets the views. You know, it's like you can say that somebody harasses you and stuff like that, but I want people to be honest with the reason why they're consistently covering one bit of thing, or at least when you're questioned about it, be like, yeah, but if it's for views, yeah. And I feel like that's exactly what I didn't get when they talked about like, well, I got absolutely nothing from it. I've gotten nothing from it.
Well,
I don't think that's true.
I think I think that Jay said they got very little from it, and that seems accurate to me.
I don't agree. I don't know how you would. I just don't know. I don't know.
Okay,
about
so
that. So
this kind of relates to the other conversation, but part of the problem is that when Hasan was watching the video, their channel wasn't visible, and they didn't even know like what they were reacting to.
yeah, I know.
And just to be clear, this is not like Jay's normal content. Isn't let's go review a weird house, right?
Sure.
So like, if you don't tell people about like like what you're watching,
Mm-hmm.
there's not much of a conceivable connection, and that's part of why. Like,
Yep.
do you contest the idea that the only noticeable uptick on the channel was like 200 views or whatever it was?
That's what they said. I don't know if that's truly the case, but that's what they showed the audience.
I mean, do you doubt that?
I'm agnostic to whether or not that is the truth. That's what I was shown. I didn't look into it further. I couldn't make a claim if I wanted to. I'll take them at their word.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have your exact quotes. I don't know. I felt you went a bit hard on Jay, right?
I probably did, to be fair. I was getting quite annoyed with them looping, and it probably resulted in me saying things that were hyperbolic towards that individual.
Yeah. Also, do you know the background of like so Jay tweeted basically, "Oh, I think someone on Twitch reacted to my video," without like kind of like asking people what happened. And I responded, "Oh, I think it was Relly. He's a good dude. I watched it. It was cool." Because I watched like the first 30 minutes, and then like people started DMing me like, "Dude, the react gets kind of wild," and I had to go back and watch the full thing, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this gets kind of hostile later on." Like part of the thing is, if you had like a meter, right, of how hard someone could go, you know, and 10 on that meter is making a video titled, you know, X is unironically evil, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Jay's going like a 3 or a 4. Like it's pretty mild criticism.
I actually disagree. I think that it's
Really?
I think it is genuinely like packaged as mild criticism, but I feel like the implication is that Hasan's a loser that doesn't do anything for his content and makes excuses about why he doesn't have to do anything for his content and will continue doing this into the future. I think that is an implication from that. When I was watching that, it felt as though, which honestly, to be fair, I don't really care about, right? I watch Destiny, who pretty much says the same thing. I don't really give a fuck about if somebody says that. But I don't think it was, I think it was packaged as, I think the tone was of a mild criticism, but I think the actual material thing was that Hasan doesn't care about stealing other people's content. Hasan doesn't care about giving credit to other people's content, and if you call him out on it, he's just going to be a bitter man who then says that I'm not going to watch your content anymore. That's what the vibe I got from it was.
Can you hear my dog barking?
Nope, I can't hear it at all.
Okay, good. All right, we don't need to worry about it. Tell me if you can, and I'll have to go sort that out. Well, I mean, first of all,
I can now, but it's not distracting very much.
Okay.
I just want to be honest with that. I can, but it doesn't really matter at all.
Okay. Yeah, I can go sort that out if it becomes a problem.
Okay.
So, I mean, first of all, that characterization of Hasan just seems accurate to me.
I think for some things, I would say that the characterization, so like one of the things, I'm not sure if you got to it, was the characterization that he leaves his stream all the time. You remember when they said that? Inside of Jay's video? He constantly leaves the stream?
Well, in your discussion, you seem to concede that he does it for about 20 minutes a day, and you thought that was fine, right? I mean,
yeah, do you know what percent of the time? Do you know what percent of the time that is?
I don't care about. I mean, he streams a lot, so the percentage is going to be low. But that doesn't matter to me. 20 minutes a day is a lot.
Not if it's 5% of your streams. No, I don't think so. So you think 5% of your streams is a lot?
You don't just frame things in terms of a percentage. Like,
yeah, you would.
If I said I spend an hour a year raping people, and it's like a very small percentage of my time, nobody would be okay with that. You can't just say, I mean, he spends a lot of time not stealing people's content.
It has to do with the relevant thing that you are doing, and it's based on the action that you're doing. For instance, if I said I spent an hour a day pissing, people would be like, wow, that's a lot. But if I said that, like, for instance, I spent an hour a day cooking, some people might be, okay, you're making some pretty interesting, but it's not a lot. It has to do with the relevant action and how frequent people would do that on a day-to-day basis. And I think being gone out of between, I think it was like 8 to 9 hour stream a day, you being gone for 20 minutes, I think that is realistic for bathrooms, for cooking, for all of those things. I think that is a realistic amount of time. And I think the framing of it being a lot is pushing a narrative there inside of the context of that video, that he is consistently leaving videos on or watching other people's content and just fucking off like he did with Jay's video pretty inappropriately. I don't disagree.
If it's something that happens every day, then it is consistently.
Well, no. Consistently to the point where it would be a problem. Like 20 minutes a day of leaving your desk in total, right, isn't going to manifest in very many issuances of what happened to Jay with his video, right? Nor do we have any evidence that's more recent that Hasan has been doing that same thing that he's been doing with Jay's video with other videos. We have no evidence of that. But I feel as though the characterization implies that Hasan is consistently leaving his desk, leaving his videos on, and at a frequency far higher than what I would consider. Listening to that, I would have thought that Hasan spent a good quarter to, at the very bare minimum, 15% of his stream gone from it. Listening to that video, at the very bare minimum, 15% of his stream, like, gone eating and stuff like that. But that's not the case.
I mean, if something is happening every day and it's not happening for a trivial period of time, but like 20 minutes, which is like the length of a full video, I don't understand how this isn't consistent. I mean, like, if it's happening every day, then it's just that, like,
it's because I believe the characterization of it being a lot in the framework of an 8 to 9 hour stream, being 20 minutes AFK, being a lot of AFK time, I just don't believe. I imagine that if we looked at your average streamer who streams 8 to 9 hours a day, we'd probably see something somewhat similar. Granted,
I mean, you make the choice. You make the choice to stream for 12 hours a day. It's incumbent on you to be able to do that without doing things that are unethical. It's
I
not like,
don't.
oh well, it's hard. Yeah, it's probably almost impossible to stream for 12 hours without like basically going AFK, and that's going to make you take a hit to your viewership. Now that's a result of the choice that you made to stream for 12 hours. It doesn't justify doing something unethical to try and maintain your stream viewership. I mean, like you don't. Again, so like
We haven't even. The problem is we didn't even establish during the AFK time that he's doing anything unethical. What we did is we tried to ramshackle loose facts together to say that he was doing something unethical. That's what we were trying to do. It was Hasan leaves videos on when he goes AFK, and he also is AFK a lot. This is in no way like
Hasan
enough.
Hasan is making like $10,000 a day streaming.
Yeah.
And he's and like the what Jay's getting out of this is, I mean, like the characterization that it's almost nothing is accurate. I don't understand how this is like not.
What do you mean?
You don't think there's anything unethical going on here?
You wouldn't compare. What do you mean? I'm not saying. I never said that what Hasan did was ethical to Jay watching the video. In fact, I said the opposite. However,
yeah, you said it was pretty bad.
Yes. I wanted to make sure, because Jay had stopped the video halfway through. I wanted to make sure they were being honest, and to their credit, I literally think the second half of the video was worse than the first half, like in many different ways. So like I feel like they kind of shot themselves in the leg a bit there with not showing the full fucking thing. But anyway, I feel like Jay was trying to do a lot of heavy lifting with like implying that Hasan was doing this and this and this by throwing things together. Like if I was trying to prove that somebody was AFKing people's videos, I wouldn't say he leaves videos on a lot and he AFKs a lot and then leave it at that. And I feel like the characterization that he leaves videos on a lot when in reality he's gone for 20 minutes out of an 8 to 9 hour stream, I just don't. That's not out of the norm that the video, I believe, was meant to imply that it was. Based on the video, I would have suspected anywhere between 40 minutes to an hour and a half a day out of an 8 hour stream. That's what I would have expected based on the video.
Really quickly. So if I had to give a good example of somebody doing like what I would consider to be very ethical React content, it would be you. And it's because of something Jay said in the video. They put it to words better than I could. I tune into your stream for you. I never tune into your stream because you're watching something else that I want to see. I tune in because your reactions to things are considerably better and more entertaining than they would be without you around. And again, you aren't doing these things. You don't get up and leave. You don't stream for so long that you're forced to just like leave a video on and get up and fuck off.
Well,
like
so
you're like the perfect example of someone who is doing ethical React content.
I appreciate that.
Like I'm confused as to why. Like I'm confused as to why you would defend this. He doesn't need to stream for 12 hours.
Hold on. What do you think I'm defending? What do you think I'm defending?
Well, that's part of why I wanted to talk to you. I don't know exactly, but like in this particular case, you're defending the idea that it's reasonable for someone who streams for 12 hours to just get up and leave a video running for 20 minutes a day.
Whoa, I never said that. I said what's reasonable is for them to be AFK for a period of time. I believe that you're in a position in which you're very receptive to Jay's point, which is because Jay showed one instance. To be fair, I think it was like 3 different, but they were like kind of clips of it. One instance of Hasan being AFK while watching a video means that definitively the entire time he's AFK is when he's watching a video. I have no idea. I have no evidence for this. I've seen multiple instances of him still doing this recently, but I have no idea how consistently in that 20-minute AFK, 30-minute AFK time period he has that he's actually watching a video and stuff. We need more information before we make such a claim, right? We can't just say that he does.
Just to be clear, I am pretty susceptible to Jay's point. I mean, I'm making a video about Hasan, including this incident, and I'm going a lot harder than Jay did. Okay?
Sure.
So I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm some impartial arbiter. Okay, I have a very clearly staked out position. And just to be fair to you, I didn't. That's part of why I wanted to talk to you, is that I didn't understand your position. So
okay.
that's interesting. So if if you're just saying it's reasonable when you're AFK, like you're streaming for 12 hours to be AFK for 20 minutes. Okay, you're right. That is reasonable. But do you think that it's reasonable if you're going to go AFK for 20 minutes to put someone's video on and then fuck off to cook nuggies?
No, I don't. I've said that multiple times before. I don't think it's reasonable to do that unless you can somehow interact with the stream reasonably, like you have a mic in there and then you can talk to them and shit like that. I don't think it's reasonable to do that. I don't know why this multi-millionaire doesn't have a fucking kitchen cam that he can talk to people while he makes shit in the fucking kitchen. There's straight up fucking like poverty people who are literally in poverty that can afford that shit. I don't know why he doesn't have a kitchen cam.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. But yeah, okay, so that was that was confusing to me, and I think it was confusing to some people in your chat. So yeah, in that case, I don't think I disagree with you about that much. Yeah, if you're streaming for 12 hours, it's completely reasonable to be AFK for 20 minutes. But yeah, just like don't don't put someone's video on and leave. It's kind of fucked up. Okay, so yeah, like so I feel like again, I don't have the exact quotes, but I feel like you speculated a lot about Jay's intentions in ways that were like not super accurate. Like, do you disagree with the idea that, would you support the idea that Jay did this as a means of like either clout chasing or with the expectation that like whipping up drama was a good thing, or with the expectation that this was going to be a particularly successful video or anything like that?
Well, I believe that I believe there is some. So to the second and to the third point, I believe there is some evidence for that. I think there is some evidence that this person believes that whipping up old drama would absolutely be favorable for a video like this in order to establish a point. And for people to feel as though that point is more well made. I feel like the spirit of what you were looking for is a bit different in that second one, but I believe that to be the case. That this person realized that it was a contentious point. There was a controversy. There was people that talked about it. There was people that looked at it. The views of the video, I do not believe, are indicative of the impression onto the material world as a result of that, because most streamers, most normie people inside of the political space that had never heard of this person had heard of this person. That is the one place that I figured out that person existed, and I think that the views isn't indicative of it, because I think it was like Hasan who was trying to like fucking do a really weird like, I'm not gonna talk about them. He was doing that thing, you know, where he's like, I'm not gonna talk about them, I'm not gonna, you know, mention them, I'm not gonna acknowledge any comments with them and shit like that. He tried to do like the clout cover up, and I think it was far more far reaching than the views indicate. I don't remember what the views were, but it was pretty big deal in politics, Twitch politics at least, and shit like that.
So that's part of the thing, is that the reason that you heard about them from this video and not other stuff is this isn't what they normally do, which is like, I don't know how much you know about the YouTube algorithm, but there's a reason I rebranded from Doomer Politics to Doomermedia, and I'm not making politics videos anymore. Like, you want to stick to one thing. Making videos about a variety of topics like massively hurts you. And Jay's normal content isn't talking about drama or politics or anything like this. Like, and which means that making this video, they should expect this to do worse than normal, which I believe they said in the video. I know they have said that elsewhere. And I have every reason to believe that's accurate, because that's how the YouTube algorithm works. And they're a very successful person. They have, I'm sure, plenty of shit on the shelf, plenty of stuff they could be talking about. They're mostly like a comedic YouTuber. Like a big chunk of their appeal is that they're able to make very funny videos that are responding critically to stuff. This was a pretty big break from the usual content. So like, I think what you just said is better evidence against the idea that they had some kind of nefarious motive. And then in the video they said,
I never said that they had a nefarious motive. I don't believe that they had a nefarious motive.
Okay, sure. But like in the video they said something to the effect of, I'm concerned about the normalization of unethical React content. Something like that, right?
I'm sorry, what?
They said something to the effect of like, I'm concerned about the normalization of unethical React content.
Okay.
Like, do you doubt that was their motivation in making the video?
No.
Okay. Well, I would not have gotten that impression from watching your coverage, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And okay, so
I think
sure.
I thought I remember at several points saying that I have no reason to believe that this person's a clout chaser.
So you sort of took both. There's about a 30-minute chunk where if you just watched that, you went pretty hard. I
Well,
think you
yeah,
basically called them a
obviously.
liar.
Wait, a liar about what?
Uh,
Okay,
about the thing we just
listen.
discussed.
I'll say the representation that they got nothing from it in totality is what I would consider unethical representation from a content creator. Because any content creator that exists for longer than 30 days knows that you don't only get something from somebody reacting. This is like me saying, I never got anything from Destiny, even outside of the the N-word manifesto where he cited me. That's it. And like, I got nothing out of Destiny because he hasn't cited me, he hasn't said anything, but like, bull fucking shit. Okay, I've interacted with his community, so has Jay, and now in the way that Jay did was confrontational, but confrontation absolutely can, and controversy can bring people to know your name, people to know your content. There are thousands of people that would not have known who the this person is that now do know who the this person is and are brought back to understanding who the this person is, and some of those people are streamers, and some of those people stream to hundreds of people, and so I know that you know, and I know that this person knows how it works, and I just want people to be more transparent with how shit like that happens.
Well, the people that they would get an audience from that wouldn't have known who they were before are the least likely. Like, they're very unlikely to continue to engage with their content because they don't make this kind of content. Like, I mean, I could just.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with you that they're not going to be super likely to continue over, but to say that you got nothing from it, I think is pretty disingenuous. I just my standard for what people need to say or be comfortable saying when in moments of shit like this is a little bit higher, I think, than that. Or sorry, not higher. It's a different, I would say. It's not on a high to low scale. I'd say it's different.
Well, let me know if you disagree with either of these statements, okay?
Yep.
One of them is that Jay did not get very much from this. The other statement is that Hasan got way more out of it than Jay did. You disagree with either of those statements?
I disagree that Hasan got way more out of this than they did.
Really?
Are you talking about in a material absolute number wise?
I mean,
because
that, like,
that's a really dumb metric to use if you're using an absolute number.
No, I just mean that, like, there's a negligible impact on Jay. The idea that it's very close to nothing, I think, is pretty accurate.
What do you think Hasan got out of it?
I mean, Hasan got 20 minutes of content. I mean, again, it sounds like it's not that much, but this is a person that earns an incredible amount of money. So, like, you could very easily demonstrate that Hasan got something out of it, particularly when a huge chunk of Hasan's content is watching other people's content and not do all that much with it, right?
So you're using the argument that because Hasan is bigger and he talks about him even for a shorter period of time than the other person talks about them, because he's paid more, he got more out of it. Is this the argument that we're using?
The argument is that it's exploitative. That Hasan is getting vastly more out of it than Jay is. And there are ways to hedge that, right?
I don't agree with that being a standard that I care to use. So I don't care to use the standard that because somebody makes a lot more money, that means that they're automatically getting more out of it from an ethical perspective. It would depend on the question from an ethical perspective out of an interaction than another person who isn't getting that much money. And the reason why is because at that point, what precedent you're setting is I can't cover X amount of shit because I'm getting more out of this arrangement than the other person. So, like, for instance, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm kind of bad about that recently. I was just gonna say there's a lot of things that you could do to make it fine, but part of the, like, do you want to go into, like, sort of the ethical react stuff, because that's sort of like there's a bunch of different issues there.
Maybe you want to do it, like, yeah.
So I believe that Jay said that it would be pretty much fine if sort of two things happened. One was that the viewers were made aware of what they were watching, so they actually were able to filter through. And then two was that you interacted with the content enough that the person, like basically what I said about you, when I watch your content, I'm watching your content for you. I'm not watching your content because there's just something on, and you don't have much to do with it. You're always the reason that I watch your content.
Sure.
So basically, just they said to me two simple criteria. You should be the appeal of your stream, and if you're watching something, people should know what it is that they're watching. So I'm like 98% sure that if those two criteria were met, Jay would be fine with it.
Yep.
So do you disagree with that?
Nope.
Okay, so like the issue isn't that Hasan is reacting to these things. It's that he's reacting to these things while not doing either of those things.
Wait, so
right?
then why did we bring up the point about it being unethical with the amount of money that he's making as a result of it?
Well, that's because you're making the point about. Okay, it seems to me that you were trying to argue that Jay benefited, benefited in a way that is noticeable and meaningful from the interaction, where I don't think they did.
What metrics are you using?
I mean, you could use any metric. You could use views. You could use subscribers. You could use clout. I mean, you could use basically anything. You're not going to get any of that if the person isn't even showing your channel name or the videos or anything like that.
No. So I know you know it's not this. So wait, hold on. How did Dima Mama gain clout from like Destiny?
Okay, so there's a very substantial difference that we need to establish here between a YouTuber and streamers.
No,
So,
I'm just asking you, is because if you answer the question, you're gonna realize that there's different ways that you can manifest clout, even if people don't show you. That's what I'm saying. You can manifest clout from controversy, even if people don't, even if you aren't cited in that. For instance, if JCS or Jay Exci, excuse me, wasn't JCS. If Jay Exci wasn't cited, how was there so many people in like Twitch politics and as a result in my chat as well that were like, oh, this guy, yeah, this guy that made that a song? Why was there so right? I'm not saying that it's good to not show the channel name. What I'm saying is you can still find ways to get clout from someone that doesn't do this, and they did. They found ways to create controversy. There was controversy. They found a way to talk about said controversy, right, and expose said controversy. That was, at the end of the day, at the simple baseline word of mouth, beneficial, because having people that, at the very least, know who you are is pretty beneficial.
Okay, hold on a second. Let's use a hypothetical really quickly. Let's say that Hasan did exactly the react that they did, and Jay didn't respond to it.
Yep.
How much do you think Jay benefited from that?
Probably literally nothing. I would say that if you say that they benefited anything at all, you would probably be a bad faith actor.
Okay, so that's sort of the disconnect that's going on here, because I'm thinking about basically whether or not Hasan's initial reaction was ethical, right? And if we both agree on the premise that if Jay didn't respond to it, that literally nothing would be gained.
Yep.
Well, part of what Jay said was that they aren't even going to know when most people react to their content. Part of the reason that this got picked up is because Hasan is really, 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 really big, right?
Yep.
So you usually hear about that. I mean, people react to my stuff all the like things involving me a lot. I don't hear about it most of the time, right? So, so basically, I think you would agree that the initial reaction that Hasan gave was unethical. But the contention that you have is that Jay is presenting themselves as having not gotten anything out of it when they did, because they talked about it.
Yeah, so I, as a result of something that I may get nothing out of, have to put my work into it, my labor into it, but I can get something. I can squeeze, what is it? I forget what it is. The term, it's like I can squeeze juice from a whatever, right? Like your labor can end up producing a benefit from something you would otherwise get nothing out of. And to say as a blanket, I never got anything out of this, it just doesn't work with me as a person. I don't feel like it meets material reality, because somebody was redacted from redacted doesn't mean that they don't get like constant people aren't constantly thinking about this person, maybe even checking up on this person and trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this person when it comes to maybe not like a subscriber, but somebody that has word of mouth that if something like this happens again, they're going to bring a stream of a couple hundred people over to take a look, or have like a 1K stream watching the video and talking about the video and engaging with the video that otherwise brings over a non-endemic audience. Like, this is how fame is made, like by a large in part, like is turning, water into wine, right? Taking nothing and turning it into something, taking somebody, reacting to whatever. So to say that you got nothing out of it, I just feel like is something that they know is not true, and that anybody who's done this knows isn't true.
Okay, so I'm really glad that I talked to you, because I think this is a misunderstanding that you're having with them, or there's something going on. So I don't actually think you disagree that much. I'm pretty sure, and I could, I guess, ask Jay. I've never interpersonally talked to them, but we kind of know each other. I'm guessing that if I asked them, would you agree that you got something out of it by being able to respond to it? I think their reaction would be something like, well, yeah, obviously, by responding to it, it gives me an opportunity to talk about things and to make a point about reaction content and to generate content for my channel. Like, obviously, I get something out of that. But that doesn't justify the initial unethical action of Hasan. So if that was their reaction, would you disagree with them?
I actually want to hear from your perspective, because this axiom doesn't matter at all to me. If, let's say, Jay Exci got like 100,000 subscribers as a result of Hasan's coverage, would you say it was ethical? Because whether or not he got numbers is not relevant to whether or not it was ethical to me or not. It has to do with the material reality of his coverage. It has nothing to do with the amount of views that came over to his video.
I think that the question of whether it's ethical or not is a bit disconnected from exactly what happened. Yeah, because it's easy.
I mean, it's supporting evidence, but that nothing happened. But it's no.
I think I could construct a hypothetical. I think I could construct a hypothetical in either direction, where someone did unethical React content and someone massively benefited from it, or where someone did ethical React content and the person got nothing out of it. So yeah, I think I agree with you. There isn't much of a connection there in terms of like the material gain.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's just my whole thing, is I'm not super concerned with whether. I mean, it's cool. It's good for them. Like, if Hasan did react to the content and they got a bunch of views, I mean, that's cool. I always want somebody who is, makes a cool video to be able to benefit from said cool video, right? That'd be great, but like, it doesn't make the action ethical. So
yeah, but I mean, I think that Jay laid out pretty good criteria for what ethical React content would look like, right? It's like, make sure that people know what you're reacting to, and make sure that you're reacting.
I don't disagree with a lot of the meat and potatoes of Jay's arguments. I disagreed with the a lot of the examples that they gave, I think, were hyperbolized, and it felt like a lot of it came from like a position of genuine like dissatisfaction or dislike of Hasan. It felt like he should have picked a different person, because it felt too personal. It felt like somebody ironing or laying out their laundry and then trying to make like a critique video about it as well. It just felt too personal.
Well, okay, but hold on, because again, I really like you. I'm not going to do any fucking bullshit, right? But if I was someone who is confrontational, I could very easily say, well, it's sounding to me like you're taking this personally because you do React streaming as like a profession. I think that would be a response that a lot of people would have. And I don't think that's a valid thing to say to you. I don't think that's motivating your opinion. And for the same reason, I don't think that it's motivating Jay's opinion. Jay, in the video, said that they're fine with React content. They enjoy a lot of React content. They just don't like the trend that it's headed in. Highlighting a couple of things.
I'm sorry, I'm not saying that any of the material facts are wrong. It felt like soy. That's how maybe I should rephrase it. It felt soy. All right. Hasan leaves his chair. Soy. Look at how long he does. Soy. He left his chair for 25 minutes. Soy. That's what it felt like. It felt like they were making valid points, but they were also using soy fucking arguments to be able to do it. Like hyperbolized things or things that they felt they had a personal grudge to do. It'd be like if I don't know, use this for like I don't know, somebody I don't like, right? Like a Mike from PA type beat or a Bad Bunny, right? If I made a video talking about, let's just stay on topic, React streamers or something, and I'm talking about how leftists are ruining I'm talking about how React streaming is really bad and how these people will monologue for 25 minutes about topics that aren't relevant to it and bring over controversy that comes to my video because they start talking about, I don't know, id polls shit while watching my fucking video, and I'm just constantly drilling that, you know, Bad Bunny is doing this and that's all that they do, and that's what it felt very much like. It felt like they were trying to shadow box with Hasan instead of sticking to the script more specifically. Not that they were making bad points, but just like it was like, bro, this is kind of weird. You know you're live, right? And that's what I'd say it was. It was just soy.
I mean that's fine. Like some of the things you said, I don't feel any need to argue about, right? Like one of your criticisms was you felt the video was looping.
Yep.
I don't really agree with that, but I don't have a problem with that criticism. It's like it's like, okay, you watched the video, you didn't like the video, fair enough. Like what I took issue with was sort of characterizing Jay as being like a liar or getting into the motivation stuff, which I guess we've sort of cleared up. There's a bit of a miscommunication there. I actually don't think that you guys would disagree that much.
I don't think we would either. I genuinely don't think we would disagree. I think what they were referencing when they were talking about whether or not they got shit out of it was probably just the video itself, whether they got shit out of the video itself, full stop, not anything that came as a result of the video or after the video or any content they had to make as a result of the video. And yeah, and I just would like people to talk about that.
Okay,
when
sure.
they're making such blanket terms.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you did it in kind of you got kind of heated, but I can't.
Yeah, I did.
I can't throw a rock at a glass house. I've been screaming at people a lot recently, so I can't really give you too much for that. I guess I'll just say that like I felt like your coverage was kind of unreasonable, and talking to you now, your position seems very reasonable, and I don't think that it's changed, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fair enough. Another thing I kind of was curious about. I don't remember your take on this, but a common argument people use is basically that Hasan is fine with people reacting to his videos or ripping them off or whatever, and therefore it's fine for him to like react to other people's shit. Do you think that that's a good line of reasoning?
No, but I think the line of reasoning in that there's a difference between Twitch streamers and YouTubers when it comes to the culture of fully ripping content is valid. Like if you look at incredibly monumentously large content creators on Twitch, half of them don't care if you just full rip their VOD. They literally don't care. You can find full fucking VODs, no audio, no cuts, no nothing of Exci playing Welcome to the Game for the 15th time. And that's it. You full fucking rips. I can show you channels that are dedicated to full rips of Hasan's VOD. And I think that is something important to bring out the distinction of, is how these two markets operate differently, and how it could be more reasonable, honestly, that somebody like Hasan might overlook something like this because of the environment that he lives in, where in which, hey, listen, like for instance, somebody like me being able to watch even fucking Mike from PA's content or Bad Bunny's content or Hasan's content, when they could literally get me banned if they wanted to for me watching their content, right? People that we fucking detest even watching our content that we could otherwise get banned saying fuck it. People that upload our VODs saying fuck it, who really cares, right? Those,
Yeah.
I think that shows that there's a difference in culture that I think is important to this conversation that they didn't touch on, but I'm not too upset about that. I don't think that matters that much.
Well, it's a pretty massive distinction. I mean, part of it is that like streamers are getting an almost one-to-one conversion of time to content, whereas like, I mean, I spent personally 2.5 months doing almost nothing but making that Vaush video, and it resulted in 2 hours of content. Right? It's
Sure.
like a 250 to 1 ratio or something. Not a fantastic ratio. So like as a streamer, you're very, very focused on like the here and now. What happened a couple of days ago isn't that big of a deal. And again, getting your name out there is crucially important. Um, it's less true for someone who makes YouTube videos, and you stand to lose a lot more if you're losing revenue from something that you did because you don't get to do that many things, right?
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, like it makes perfect sense to me that streamers wouldn't particularly care, because what they really want to do is get more people watching their streams and get their name out there and get attention on the next thing they're going to do. So they're not going to place a particularly high value on any given particular stream. But again, with YouTubers, it's not the same thing. You know, you could rip off about an hour and a half of my stuff, and you would get everything that I did that was meaningful, and there wouldn't be much, you know, for people to watch on my channel at that point.
Well, I mean, part of that, though, is the idea that people would come back for future issuances as well. That is baked in as well into the VOD channels for me. So there's people that upload VODs of mine, right? And, like, the idea is that, the hope would be that some of those people come over to my stream after watching those VODs, right, and watching that, but in theory they could sit there and watch it the whole time. So there is, in both issuances, still a hope that something like that happens. But I think that the big difference, honestly, is the difference of domain. I'm not going to fully expect there's going to be a crazy amount of people that traffic over to my Twitch stream because a YouTube channel is uploading my VODs. Probably because it's on a separate site is another really big one, right?
Yeah, I mean, to tell you my personal experience, I don't watch streamers that much compared to what people think. I mean, I watch like you and Chud, and like that's mostly it. I mean, I watch Supreme sometimes. There's not many streamers I watch, but I watch a lot of VODs of streamers. Like I basically never watch Destiny's live channel, but if something happens, I'll probably watch the VOD. So like
Right.
there's a concern that if somebody was uploading your content to YouTube and someone's interacting with it through YouTube, I think it's more likely they would continue to watch ripped off VODs of your content than they would actually traffic over to your stream.
Right.
Like,
And so
do you
I
agree with
tend,
that?
yeah, that's probably true. And I tend to not really care that much personally, like, because it's like, well, it's not really that big of a deal. I guess I could be making that money on my YouTube channel or whatever, but I don't really care that much. I just don't really care. Maybe I should because it'd make me more money, but I don't know. I feel like the principle of not caring about that is just pretty cool. I want
yeah, I
people
mean,
to
it might be
able
the
to
might be
make-
the better position. But like, so I actually thought of sort of an interesting example. So there was this whole thing about like a month or two ago about where Seth Rogen's car got broken into, and he was like, "Whatever, dude, just let people break into your car." It's like basically his take. It's like it's not that big of a deal. And like nobody accepted that argument. Like basically no one. It's like it's not okay for people to fucking break into your car just because you're so rich you don't give a shit. I think it's pretty similar to like the streamer thing. Like from the perspective of it being someone who does YouTube, I can understand why streamers wouldn't care if someone rips off their content. But YouTubers are going to care more, right? And it's like just because you consent to something happening to you doesn't mean it's okay for you to do it to someone else, right?
Well, yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think the primary thing is if you consent to it yourself and then you do it to somebody else, I think the primary thing there is there's probably some overlap with like you just not thinking it's unethical. And that would be a different issue right there. Is I could tell somebody, hey, yeah, you shouldn't do that, but like the primary issue wouldn't just be that they like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, like they forgot. It would probably be that they don't think it's unethical in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be a position. I mean, the Hasan has supported stealing a lot more than just YouTube VODs. I guess you could put it that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, just because someone has a particular moral system that disagrees with mine, that doesn't mean I have to just like accept it, right?
Yeah, I
That
know.
just means they're not a hypocrite. But it's like, okay, well, if you think stealing's fine, most people don't think stealing is fine, right? So it wouldn't justify it. It would just make them consistent, but still potentially kind of shitty, at least in the eyes of most people.
Yep. I'm just saying there's a different culture, it seems, on Twitch. There's a different culture, and being aware of that different culture allows, I think, will show pretty accurately where Hasan was coming from, and him being reasonable and not thinking too much about what he was doing. I think it's pretty reasonable that he would have done what he did, and then when the controversy happened and it was brought to his attention, it was a good moment to teach him what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, I like the actual individual action isn't super important to me, and I don't think it's important to Jay or really anyone. It's just more the broader point. Like, if you're going to do React content, there's probably certain things you should do to, at the very least, to get along amicably with the people whose content that you're using, right? If not to make a morally decent action in general, right? So yeah, I'm not super concerned. It's like, yeah, Hasan gave a bad react and kind of like, in a way, stole Jay's content, but that's less important. And I think we agree on like the way React should be done. So it like going forward is the far more important thing. It's like that people don't do that again, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I guess we don't disagree that much. I'm really glad we were able to clear up some of that confusion. And yeah, I don't know. I guess you agree you went a bit hard. That's fair enough. That's what makes entertaining content. So
I mean,
that's fair enough.
I just get really, really upset at like grandstanding or whatever. And that's what it kind of felt like it was. Like, I don't think any of the points that they made were bad. I think just the way that they made it was really bad for somebody like me, at least, to ingest. It felt very, very like personal and like that. I just really hated the way that they made the points, but none of their material points that they made was like actually bad.
I can kind of explain that really quickly. So Jay is very conscious of people who are going to not like their content or people who are going to disagree with their premise. So I forget. I think it was Jay had a debate with Denims, and Jay was explaining this on Chud's channel. Is pretty.
What was
weird.
that debate over?
Denims went way harder than you went, and then Denims and I think Denims and Jay were both like talking in Chud's chat. So Chud was like, "Do you guys want to have a debate?" And the debate was basically over the video. And then Denims just like conceded in the first 5 minutes. It was like really awkward. Um, yeah, I don't know. I I would have to like I didn't. Yeah, I don't know.
Link.
It was,
All right.
it was pretty weird. Yeah, fuck. I just had a point, but I forgot what it was. The fuck what were we talking about before that? oh, Jay's point. So when you give a take about media, there's always going to be people that disagree with you, right? Like if you make political content, your audience is probably going to agree. Like 95% of your audience is going to agree with your take. But if you give takes on media, basically always 15% of your audience is going to disagree. There's, if you shit on something, there's always going to be people who like it. And if you love something, there's always going to be people who hate it. So Jay goes really far out of their way to try and be amicable to the people who disagree with them. And that results in a lot of the hedging that I think you had a problem with. They were talking about that in the debate with Denims, where it's like, when I'm making videos, I'm very, very conscious of the people who are going to come in like disagreeing with the title, disagreeing with my premise, and just wanting to fucking hate me. That's part of why Jay like hedges and says things in the way that they do, where they try to be really, really non-confrontational and try to present like lower level conclusions. Like they don't make videos titled "You're fucking evil," right? It's like, hey, maybe we could do React better, which is, yeah, I don't know. It seemed like you took really poorly to that. I guess I just wanted to explain why.
Yeah, a lot of it didn't feel like it wasn't. It didn't feel soft-handed. It felt, if anything, passive aggressive. Like, if anything, like it felt like they were being aggro. They just weren't like yelling. That's what it felt like to me. They were doing it in a rhetorically salient fashion. That's what my Discord, not yours. I felt like all of the meat and potatoes of saying that Hasan is a guy that steals content from smaller content creators. He's consistently doing this. He has a pattern of behavior. He is consistently AFK and doing this. He makes food while doing this, and he will block anybody that speaks out otherwise. Was there. I think all of that was there, and it was done in a way and packaged in a way that I thought was, like, if anything, more passive aggressive than anything else.
So if I made a video called Hasan is unironically stupid, and I make the argument that he's an immoral piece of shit for doing this, you would have less of a problem with it?
Yeah, because you're
okay.
like, candid
I'm really
about it.
I'm so glad I talked to you about this, because everything makes so much more sense now. So Jay's never going to do that.
Yeah, I know they're never gonna do that.
And a lot of people don't like that. Yeah.
I just don't. I just don't want somebody like, I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me when somebody does it that way, and that's just a rhetorical thing for me, and that's why I got mad. I don't disagree with any of the substance of what they were saying.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, all right. I guess we kind of ironed that out. I'm really glad that I got to talk to you.
Sure.
Because this is basically what I had hoped would happen. That I would understand your position better, and I don't think we really disagree all that much.
Yep.
So cool. Thanks for having me on, homie.
Yep.
I guess I'll talk to you later.
For sure. But all right, Synth, it's been a while. How you be? I have to shout out Doomermedia, otherwise I will be canceled. Shout out to my Discord. Not yours, Doomermedia.